Hi, we're back. We're ready to finish chapter 5. I'm going to give you a moment because you're going to take a survey. So I'm going to give you a moment to get pen and paper. I'm going to take a sip of my hot tea while you're doing that. That's good. Remember to be drinking your hot liquids to help with your throat and maybe stave off COVID-19. Okay, so hopefully by now you've gotten pen and paper. This will be the last part of chapter 5. Again, it is a survey, and it is discovering your relationship style. Okay, so it's helpful to think about relationship styles as 4 distinct categories. And it's natural to ask, what style am I? In reality, however, only some people are clearly just one relationship style. Most folks are different shades of all 4 styles. I call them hybrids. You may, for instance, discover that you are predominantly one style, but that you have a few traits from each of the other 3 styles. It is also important to note that your relationship style can change depending on the relationship that you are in. In fact, your relationship style is not always in operation. It appears only in more intimate relationships, such as close friendships and romantic relationships. But your style with your best same-sex friends can be different from your style in your romantic relationships. Also, your style can change as a relationship changes, and certainly as you get healthier or they get healthier. Now, despite all that we've just said, the following survey can help you get to know yourself a little better. As you take the survey, consider how you typically feel about and relate to people you're in relationship with. We know it's tempting to answer these questions according to how you would like to relate to people rather than how you actually do relate. So you must really work at being honest with yourself as you read through the checklist. Now remember, we're doing this without shame or condemnation, and there's no perfect answer. We're doing this to get a real analysis. For example, if I ordered a lab draw on you and I wanted to see what your blood chemistry shows, we're going to do that and get the results. And there's no judgment. All it's doing is showing us information. And based on that, I would know if your potassium was too low or too high. I would know how your liver is functioning based on other markers, etc. So we don't sit here and, as we're doing this analysis, we're not looking to judge or condemn. And I stress this because, again, I shared with you on the last session that I struggled with feeling lovable. So when I would do these kind of things, it was challenging because I already had a struggle with that. So when I would be honest with myself, I would feel pain, I would feel sad. And so that can cause you sometimes to not be quite as honest. So I'm just helping to smooth the way, remind you that you are precious, you are absolutely lovable. And it's not because I said that. It's because your Creator says that. Your Creator says you are precious, you are lovable, you are made with a purpose in mind and a destiny. And so as we take this together, just try to be honest with yourself, okay? Basically what I want you to do is when I share with you the statement, I want you to put a Y for yes or N for no, okay? Go ahead and label out the first part. So for example, the avoidant attachment style would be your title, and then I'll go through 1 through 10, and then put a Y for yes if it resonates with you, or N for no that it doesn't. If it generally describes you, put a yes. Go with your first instinct and don't overthink the statements, okay? So again, the avoidant attachment style, 1, I don't like sharing my feelings with others. 2, I don't like it when my partner wants to talk about his or her feelings. 3, I have a hard time understanding how other people feel. 4, when I get stressed, I try to deal with the situation all by myself. 5, my partner often complains that I don't like to talk about how I feel. 6, I don't really need close relationships. 7, I highly value my independence and self-sufficiency. 8, I do not worry about being alone or abandoned. 9, I do not worry about being accepted by others. And 10, I tend to value personal achievements and success over close, intimate relationships. Okay, the next category is the anxious attachment style. So 1, I really like sharing my feelings with my partner, but he or she does not seem as open as I am. 2, my feelings can get out of control very quickly. 3, I worry about being alone. 4, I worry about being abandoned in close relationships. 5, my partner complains that I am too clingy and too emotional. 6, I strongly desire to be very intimate with people. 7, in my closest relationships, the other person doesn't seem as desirous of intimacy and closeness as I am. 8, I worry a great deal about being rejected by others. 9, I tend to value close, intimate relationships over personal achievement and success. And 10, when I get stressed, I desperately seek others for support, but no one seems as available as I would like them to be. The next category is the fearful attachment style. So 1, my feelings are very confusing to me, so I try not to feel them. 2, my feelings are very intense and overwhelming. 3, I feel torn between wanting to be close to others and wanting to pull away. 4, my partner complains that sometimes I'm really needy and clingy, and other times I'm distant and aloof. 5, I have a difficult time letting others get close to me, but once I let them in, I worry about being abandoned or rejected. 6, I feel very vulnerable in close relationships. 7, sometimes I feel very disconnected from myself and my feelings. 8, I can't decide whether or not I want to be in close relationships. 9, other people can really hurt you if you let them get too close. And 10, close relationships are difficult to come by because people tend to be unpredictable in their actions and behaviors. Okay, the last one is the secure attachment style. 1, I find it easy to share my feelings with people I'm close to. 2, I like it when my partner wants to share his or her feelings with me. 3, I am comfortable getting close to others, but I also feel comfortable being alone. 4, I expect my partner to respect who I am. 5, I expect my partner to respond to my needs in a sensitive and appropriate way. 6, building intimacy in relationships comes relatively easy to me. 7, I let myself feel my emotions, but I'm rarely, if ever, overwhelmed by them. 8, I am able to understand and respond sensitively to my partner's feelings. 9, I do a decent job balancing my need for intimacy with my need for achievement and success. And 10, When I get stressed, I feel comfortable seeking comfort from my partner and or close friends. Now remember, there's a good chance that you're going to have yeses and nos in every one of those categories. That's normal. What we're going to look for is which one you had a higher number of yeses, and that will be like the top, and then the next one down, and we'll kind of rate it that way. They say that now that you've finished the survey, note the distribution of your yeses and nos. What styles do you exhibit 2 or 3 traits from? So that would be 2 or 3 yeses from. Does one style emerge as dominant? And what about your results, if anything surprised you? They have a consider this box, and it says, what relationship style do you see yourself fitting into? There's a continuum of anxiousness and avoidance. And so if you can imagine a line with an arrow going that way, and then a line and an arrow going that way, and on this side you'd have high anxiety, and on this side you would have high avoidance, and in the middle you would have secure. Okay, so they're asking you to place an X, and maybe you just draw that on your paper, on where you see yourself. Are you more close to the high avoidance? A high avoidance is highly avoidant in relationships, overly self-reliant, and they downplay intimacy. Or are you a high anxiety, and that would look like highly preoccupied about abandonment, extremely anxious in relationships. And remember, it's like a continuum, so you may not be totally over here, so try to figure out in the middle the balance. I always tell people that's what we're seeking, is balance, right? Not too much this way, not too much that way. And so it says, how has your relationship style affected the way you interact with those that you love? For example, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, your children, your closest friends, and of course, even God. Okay? So this is a shorter recording. Hopefully, I went slow enough for you to be able to get your yeses and your nos in, but definitely go back and replay it, and slow the process down and take time to listen. Don't overthink it. Go with your first response, but maybe go back and replay it so you can take the survey accurately. Please, if this is helping you, okay, please share this. Share this on Facebook. Share this on YouTube. Share this on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, okay? The more of us that get this information, get to work on this stuff, the healthier we are as a world, the healthier we are in our relationships. And here's something else that's really nice, is when I figure out what relationship attachment style I have, okay, and I'm able to start working on those areas where I'm not in a secure place, okay, what happens is the byproducts is not only do I get happier, not only do I have more peace, one of mine was abandonment, fear of abandonment, okay? So when I work on that and I begin to open myself up to the reality that I'm not alone and I'm lovable and I'm not rejectable and all those kind of things, what happens is I get joy and I get peace, and guess what else? Who else? The byproducts are my children and those that are in my life. They get to experience that, and so therefore it's so much more harmonious in your relationships with one another. The other thing that's kind of nice is if you identify, because as you're going through this, you may identify the person that you're in a close relationship with, perhaps your romantic partner. You may identify their attachment style, and that's sort of helpful too, because if you're secure, or you are you're trying to connect and you're in relationship with one who's more avoidant or more fearful. It's also known as disorganized. It's going to help you to not personalize so much that person's behavior. That often happens when you are in a secure place, and if you've done some work, and then the other person is not quite, hasn't done their journey yet. What can often happen is when people behave the way they do, we can often look at ourselves and say, well, what did I do wrong? Unless we're more in a they're wrong and I'm right kind of mentality. So anyway, this just helps on so many levels, and I encourage everyone to take a look at it, even your kiddos. Like, honestly, you could probably ask those questions or let them listen and maybe rephrase it a little bit to their level of understanding, but kind of find out what their relationship attachment styles are as well. And anyway, when you get done with that, you'll know more where you're at. We're going to continue in the book, so I'm not going to just leave you hanging here. If you find that you're not primarily in a secure attachment style, there's hope, trust me. And I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for your courage. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your connection, giving me permission to come into your space, into your world, and allowing me to share this stuff with you. And again, if it's helping you, okay, please share this information. All right. So I will check back in. We'll get into the next chapter, and hope you get your style, your attachment style figured out, your top two at least, and then we'll be able to go from there. Okay. Thank you so much.